What's good, family? So mash the like button and subscribe. So 3 days ago, your boy the YB told you that on Monday, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury's mediation over their contract dispute would reach a resolution. The judge would hand down an order. That has now been completed, and the result of that has been that the judge has ordered Wilder and Fury must face each other in a fight by September 15th, or otherwise meet some amicable solution. Essentially, Deontay Wilder holds all the cards. Now, we went through this whole decision in some detail in a separate video I've just put out. This video right here, we're going to analyse the ruling as it pertains to the AJ fight in particular, if that makes sense. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what are the implications for the AJ fight? What's now changed in the last 12 hours since this result's come out? What's changed for AJ and Fury? Because there's a number of theories going out there. Now, I've just got off the blower to someone close to the AJ and Fury situation, and there's a number of things that are flying about. Some people are saying, apples and pears, it's no problem. It's happening in Saudi, US doesn't have smart asses. You're having a laugh, YB. Yeah, America doesn't have jurisdiction in Saudi, etc., etc. And I tried to explain to them, man, listen, how contracts work, especially in the US as well. Let's not forget, the US, is the global policeman. And also, a lot of the US is the centre of many things, meaning the financial centre of the world, etc., etc. And Fury himself just bought a property in the US. He's got assets in the US. His biggest payday's been in the US. His promoter's in the US. All of these businesses have ties to the US, which means that, yes, whilst the fight may be in Saudi, TYSON, all these other organisations who will be linked with the AJ and Fury fight, if they deal with Fury knowing he has a lost case, knowing he has a liability with Wilder in the US, they open themselves up to massive damages, or they open themselves up to massive liability and claims from Wilder. Wilder has a claim on Tyson Fury, bottom line. The judge has ordered Wilder has a claim against Tyson Fury's name. Now, unless he can clone himself and do one of them goofy things, as simple as that. Judges ordered Wilder must fight Fury. Fury must fight Wilder by September 15th. Unless Wilder is otherwise satisfied. At this point in time, in terms of as far as boxing goes, Wilder owns Fury. Now, I'm going to completely ignore an appeals process, because to be honest, I think Fury will lose the appeal as well, if the truth be known. And the bottom line is, the date of September 15th doesn't give much time for an appeal anyway. So any appeal decision is going to be in Wilder's favour, bottom line. I'm also going to disclude or ignore the whole step-aside business. Wilder wants Fury badly. He wants him bad. From what I'm hearing. Never once has Wilder even mentioned, I'm happy, give me, for example, Wilder's never said, give me 30 mil, and I'll step aside. In fact, he's actually said, I don't want 100 mil, I want you. So on that basis, for this video, we're going to discuss what are Fury's practical options. Number 1, mug off the US, mug off the judge ruling, and try and fight AJ anyway. It's not going to happen. Unlike Fury's team, unlike Fury's sloppy advisors and Fury's sloppy lawyers, AJ and Eddie Hearn's lawyers are not, and the wider companies are not going to open themselves up to some massive liability. Because also how it works is, not only the way, especially at that level of organisations, these can be multi-$100 million claims, if that makes sense. They can become massive. The amount of damages Wilder can potentially claim for. So the risk of it doesn't make any sense. Why would anyone want to work with Fury, knowing that when they get back to the US, there's going to be a whole load of drama that otherwise they're not involved with? And we know as well, financially speaking, this fight's been hard to put on, as it is. Without Fury, without their legal liabilities and whatnot swanning around the place, it's not going to happen. So for all the people out there thinking, oh, don't worry, YB, he's going to go to Saudi and it's all going to be brushed under the carpet and everyone's going to crack on and mug Wilder off. Because that's the problem, you see. There's a lot of Fury fans who are low IQ. They don't really know anything about business. Oh, yeah, you know, oh, no one ever lie. They was laughing and joking. Oh, yeah, Wilder, YB, sorry, yeah. No, Wilder's going to get punked. Yeah, Fury's just going to swan over to Saudi and, oh, yeah, he's going to punk the judge off. He's going to punk Wilder off. He ain't going to do nothing. No one wants to touch Fury right now. I'm telling you that for free. When Wilder turns down and step aside money, that's the end of the fight. It's done. Fury and AJ cannot happen. Because if it does happen, every single one of these organisations, DAZN, pick anyone you want, even AJ and Eddie Hearn. Because the minute you know that someone has a claim on Fury somewhere else, and you proceed and carry on anyway, your name goes in it too. You become kind of a party to it. And the best example is, for example, UFC fighters. When a fighter has a UFC contract, there's a reason they can't just go and fight with someone else, with Bellator or whatever. And if they did go and fight with Bellator, UFC are going to sue Bellator. If that makes sense. If you know, in fact, just look at promoters. Look at promotional deals. If you can't even talk. Eddie Hearn can't even talk with promoters in the US. You can't even talk with fighters who are under contract. Never mind put on a fight. Fury is under contract with Wilder right now. So anyone who works in the US, anyone who has anything going on in the US. Now, don't get me wrong. If you live in North Korea, or if you live in Saudi and you don't ever plan on going to the US, then maybe you're a badass. But let's be real now. Eddie Hearn himself, DAZN, these are all US-based organisations. Matchroom US, whoever else. I'm sure AJ's got properties and whatever and stuff, business going on in the US. So when that's the case, you got to think wider. Especially given how big this fight is. This fight is not one of them ones where you're just going to slip it on and no one's going to notice. Everyone knows the judges ordered this for Fury to fight Wilder. Now, if you try and ignore that and try and brute force it, oh, well, we're going to put on our show anyway. Because that's what it sounds like Bob Arum thinks he's going to do. Bob Arum is senile. I'm sorry to break it to you. He's not a smart... Initially, yeah, I thought, well, you know, Bob Arum's just really smart. He knows things we don't. In the back of my mind, I was thinking, let's see how you're going to get around this contract. But Bob Arum, being an insider, I gave him too much credit. I should have listened to my sources. Oh, no, you know, Bob Arum knows more because he's on the inside. Next thing we know, nope, he doesn't know any more. And in fact, he looks silly. Bob and Team Fury look super silly right now. Bob was sitting there. Bob's been saying for the longest, yeah, and Fish Eyes, yeah, you know, there's nothing that Wilder can do. Wilder will be lucky to get some change. We may throw him some change because we feel bad for him. Next thing you know, Wilder's got a claim on Fury's next fight. Which, to be fair, is not a big... It makes it sound worse than it is, but all that is what he was contractually bound to do. Let's not forget that. Let's not make up this ruling is something magical. Unfortunately, because of Fury's bad advisors and his bad team, they've gassed him up into believing that you can pay your way out of contractual obligations. Oh, don't worry, we'll just take it to court and we'll spend millions on lawyers to get you out of something you've signed. Unfortunately, unless there's something really solid in there, simply not wanting to do it, which is what your argument was. Oh well, the pandemic, the C-19 happened, and we don't really want to do it anymore. That's not good enough. There needed to be some serious legal reasoning behind why you can't oblige your contract you signed, and there wasn't one. I've never heard one. Now, again, Fury fans thought they were smart. Oh well, you know, Fury's reasoning is he just wants to punk Wilder. Well, let's look how that worked out for you. Being a smart ass, trying to be funny about things, how's that working out for you? Now all you've done is wasted 18 months of your life. You could have fought him and had it over and done with. Your bad advisors and your bad team told you otherwise. Yep, we don't have to fight him. We heard Bob Arum. It's not like you're speculating YB. No, Bob Arum sat out and told us we don't need to fight Wilder. That's done. That contract's done. Well, clearly it wasn't done, was it? And now look at the sloppy situation you're in. So yeah, all in all, the AJ fight can't happen. Brute force wise. No one in their right mind. Because yeah, don't get me wrong. I believe Fury's team are naive enough and stupid enough and ill-advised enough to think, don't worry, we'll push ahead. Because let's not forget, that's what they've been saying from the jump. So don't sit there and tell me, well, YB, I think you're being a bit harsh here. Fury's team isn't completely incompetent. No, they are. They are completely incompetent. Because guess what? That's what they've been saying. They've been saying for the last year, we don't have to do anything for Fury. Sorry, we don't have to do anything for Wilder. We're pushing ahead with the AJ fight. So let's not make up that what I'm saying is a fetch here. I believe Team Fury are dumb enough to think we'll just plough ahead with the AJ versus Fury fight in Saudi. And we'll just lay low. And we'll just, you know what I'm saying? We'll just ignore this ruling and push ahead. But unfortunately, the A teams, AJ's team, DAZN's team, no one's going to touch him. Now, I don't believe. Maybe I'll be proved wrong. If they ignore this ruling, yeah, I'll be shocked. I'm telling you now, anyone, you'll see people dropping out. Yeah? It's going to be one or two. It'll be either systemically the event's called off. Assuming obviously assuming Wilder doesn't take step aside money. Either number one, systemically the event will be called off because of extenuating circumstances, or you'll just see different groups dropping off. You'll see Sky drop out. You'll see DAZN drop out, kind of thing. It'll be one by one. Either the whole lot will be off at once, or you'll see people dropping off because they'll be thinking they're legal. They'll reach out to their legal teams and they'll tell them, listen, it's not worth the risk to us. We're not, because the thing is as well. Again, anyone who takes part in it, each and all together, you're going to be getting a claim. You're going to be getting some sort of, you're going to be, at the end of the day, Wilder's going to be sending out things to anyone involved in that event. Because it's globally clear. And I'm pretty sure how it will work is Wilder's team will send out cease and desist letters to the individuals. Let's say, for example, worst case scenario, from Wilder's point of view, AJ and Fury's team plough ahead with the Saudi event. Wilder's team will send out the cease and desist stuff, and then before you know it, they're getting the claims through. Because it's not how it works. You can't have a contract and then do other things with it. It's obvious. That's what a contract's for. Regardless of whether it's in the US or not. You can't just skip out and you can't just skip out and do something somewhere else. Otherwise, people would do it all the time. I've signed to fight him here. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go over to another country and do it there. It doesn't work like that. Not if you plan on coming back to the US, it don't. Now, if you're a badass and you think, you know what, I'm not going back to the US. But again, we're talking dumb. It's not realistic, is it? DAZN aren't going to mug off their whole US operations just to try and help Fury out from his sloppy legal arrangements. So the bottom line is, no organisation is going to touch Fury until this is resolved. Because no one's going to want the liability of it, bottom line. On that basis, without Wilder agreeing to some sort of step aside, it's not happening. Yeah? It's not happening. No way. It's either Wilder takes step aside or it don't happen. It's literally as simple as that.